Dee. Hey, welcome everyone. Merry Christmas. 2 days early, but still. Merry Christmas, everybody. Glad that you're here on this final stream of the year. I'm not going to be rhyming the entire stream. I'm sorry. Hi, Graham. Graham is here with extra eggnog in the coffee. Hi, Elko. Maybe you'll see this later. Smana Stas, Merry Christmas. Belana, hi. DBZ Production. I will be playing piano. Yeah, that's for sure. Couldn't find eggnog in time, Graham says, and I'm out of coffee, so we'll just make do. Yeah, eggnog with coffee without eggnog or coffee. I'm kind of curious what that would be. Guru, Manuel, Rachel. Hey, good morning, Rachel. So this final stream, this is just a piano hangout stream, but there's extra room for questions. I used to do question and answer videos once in a while, back before I was streaming, and now I'm streaming, so we can do this live. So if there's any questions whatsoever, you can ask me anything. I can't promise that I'll actually answer anything, everything, but I'll try to answer as much as I can. Guru asks, do you have steulen? I haven't eaten one yet. In Dutch it's called a kerststol. Haven't had a kerststol yet. That's certainly something that has to be remedied. Tomorrow I'll be going to my parents and they'll undoubtedly have some stol for me. How about you, Guru? Manuel says, hi Tim, I have a proposal for you. I'm getting married in 2024 and I want to ask you if it's possible to compose a melody for us. Can you provide me an email to reach out to you? Yeah, you can reach me at I can say this in a thing, of course. Everybody's watching. This is my email. Please don't accidentally send me money over PayPal. So, my mail is t.de.man. So that's t.de.man. t.de.man@live.nl. This is only for Manuel. This is not for people who want to send me money or want to ask me if I want to compose music for their incredible game. Yeah. Victoria, hi. Victoria asks, it's currently minus 36 degrees in my state. What? Minus 37 Celsius? Oh my god. Hope the power is still on. Is that the storm that's currently going on in the US? Rachel asks, what are you hoping to get for Christmas, Tim? Well, we are doing presents with my family. I think I've asked for socks. I always like wearing crazy socks. Currently I'm wearing a sweater. It's a sweater with a polar bear on it. I also have one of my socks is with cats. I'm not sure if this is visible. I have to check my OBS window. No, it's not visible. Oh my god, I'm getting old. Cats. Cats. And the other sock I'm wearing actually is with... It's with dogs. So I have asked for socks. Because, yeah. I'm a lucky fella. I have most of the things I want. But extra socks also kind of saves us from doing the laundry. The more socks you have, the less laundry. The longer you can delay doing the laundry, right? Balana asks, how does your process work when you worked on open air? How did you come up with those similar but yet different Zelda-inspired songs? That's an interesting question. So if I don't have any like composing work in a particular period, I'm working on what I've dubbed musical speculation videos, in which I try to get inspired by by an existing soundtrack and then write something new as if it's in that soundtrack, or at least sounds a little bit similar to that. And I'm not a very theoretical kind of musician. I'm more of an embodied kind of musician. So I'm not, if I'm trying to write something in a certain style, I'm not analyzing it like rationally. I just try to submerge myself in the music and then play along with it, try to get a feel for what kind of chords are being used. So with the Zelda, I was surprised they're using like stacked fourths a whole lot in Breath of the Wild, that is. And then later on, I can find the theory behind it. But initially, I'm just trying to get a feel for it. And then I just start writing, and I know I don't have to do my best to write something that sounds like me, because that's a blessing/curse that I've always had. You know, you can often tell very quickly when I'm the composer. I have a certain style with melodies and harmony as well. So try to approach that feeling of that particular soundtrack after having listened to it a lot. For example, I've been listening to the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 soundtrack a lot recently, which of course is thanks to you all for introducing me to it. And recently I was composing a piece of music for a nice upcoming indie game, and it was just like Chain Attack, Tim style. So that was very cool. It just happened. Oh, I was playing that in a stream earlier. It was as an improvisation. And then I liked the improvisation so much that I asked the developer, hey, can we make this track the new combat track for the game? So you can find it. You can find it on my Twitter. There's a preview of that track. So that's super Xenoblade-y. If I'm playing it like this, you can maybe say, oh, it's a little bit Xenoblade-y. But then I started arranging it, and the drums came in, and the bass was going funky, and everything was becoming cheesy in a really good way. So that's funny. Yeah, and Zelda music is just very inspiring to me in general. So and it's also reasonably close to the kind of music that I like to write myself. So yeah. That's a long-winded answer. I hope there's something interesting in there. Dibba-dibba-dibboom, dibba-dibba-dibboom. Guru will get a stole tomorrow. Tim Pannekoek, hi. Can you play Magna Forest from Xenoblade Chronicles? I cannot. I will do more Xenoblade stuff in the new year. Victoria, yeah, is in the storm. Oh, I hope you're hanging in there, Victoria. Jonathan, sorry, I'm so Dutch sometimes. Jonathan says, this winter storm just got to me and cancelled my flights. Won't be able to go home until Tuesday. We're forecasted to potentially get 95 inches of snow. 95 inches, how many centimeters is that? 2 meters? Whoa. That doesn't sound like fun at all, Jonathan, that you're kind of stuck where you're at. You're doing work stuff there? We had a very cold weather here the past like 3 weeks. Like, it was as cold here as it becomes in the winter usually. But we're only at the start of winter. So that was kind of interesting. We even had a little bit of snow. But now it's the vintage Dutch winter, which means it's raining and a little bit depressing. So then we'll just eat eggnog all day. Where did you learn to play the piano? I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Alenitu? This French? I have no idea. Anyways, where did you learn to play the piano? I learned it at home, actually. I had a teacher that came to us. Initially, my niece taught me some keyboards, and then in I was 7 years old, and then like in one and a half years, she kind of taught me what she knew, and then my parents thought, well, this is probably going to stay, so we're going to buy a real piano for the kid. So they got a free real piano, because that's how it sometimes goes once people have a piano in their house and they want to remove it. The best way to get rid of it, even if it's worth something, you can't always sell it. So they just gave it away. It wasn't a great piano, but I did learn to play there. So I had piano lessons at home from my 9th until my 18th. And then at the conservatory I had 3 years of combined classical and jazz lessons. And after that I haven't had any lessons, but I think I've improved a whole lot the past 10 years. Podom, podom, pom, pom. Ah, so much in the chat. That's good to see. Feels cozy. In Australia, Yue says, in Australia it's 37 degrees. Yeah, it's summer, right? On your end of the globe. Hi, Nivi. Thank you, Balana, for the kind words. I'm really glad with the open air albums as well, both of them. They're both on Bandcamp if you just want to outright buy them, but they're all on both of the albums are on Apple Music and Spotify and all that kind of stuff. Rachel says, I think my favorite songs from Open Air 2 are Demon Beast and The Sides of Battle. It was a beautiful album, though. Thanks, Rachel. Yeah, it was... I had been listening to it in the car when I recently had to go somewhere. Open Air 3 will have some more high-energy tracks, because it's quite a mellow track, right? But it starts out with Demon Beast. Let's see if I can play that on the piano. Yeah, that's one of my personal favorites from the album for sure. Like that core melody comes from Open Your Eyes, so the first track from the original Open Air. Excuse me. And it's such a great melody. I'm sorry, I didn't write it. It was floating around in the air. I just put it down on the piano. So I can say, because I didn't write it, I just caught it. I can say it's such a great melody. Giazur asks, is Xenoblade fun? I have no idea. Ask the chat, because I haven't played it yet. Pook Party Production asks, hey, how are you? I'm doing well. I'm kind of hot with this hat on and this polar bear sweater on, but yeah, doing well. How about you? Balana says, Open 2 has so many great songs. I love the Princess theme and Crystal Caverns and also the Roost, but I love all of them. Thank you so much, Balana. From Air 1, I especially love High Rise Castle. I think I will revisit High Rise Castle in the future to do some updating on it. The Princess's Lullaby is obviously my take on Zelda's Lullaby, right? Let's see if I can play it. Let's see. My piano is rattling. I have to tweak my noise gate. Just a second. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so that means I have to talk a little bit louder, but my piano won't be rattling. Okay, so the Princess's Lullaby, just a little bit, and then I'll get back to questions. Yeah. It's one of the most blatant Zelda-inspired tracks from the album, by the way. But it does have its own character. Especially because it starts out almost the same as Zelda's Lullaby. But instead it goes... and then it immediately goes in a different direction. Groetjes uit Enschede, Tim. Yua asks, hey Tim, with Tears of the Kingdom releasing next year, I hope so. Do you plan on replaying Breath of the Wild or covering any more tracks before it releases? Yeah, I was intending to do a stamina run of Breath of the Wild. I was actually starting on a stamina, no fast travel run, before my kid accidentally opened the account and started doing all kinds of crazy stuff with it. So, I'm gonna have to start over. Was thinking of streaming that, but I'm not sure if that's a... like adds something to the channel, because this is a game music channel after all. Hey Ulysses. Let's see, I was missing some English lessons, which is always fun. Which is not sarcasm, by the way. Long-winded? Long-winded. Long-winded answer. Graham says, I never thought of it being winded like winding a watch. It's usually winded like being full of air or out of breath. I'm sorry on behalf of English phonics being obtuse. Phonics? Phonics? English has so many vowels, it's crazy. Anyways, long-winded. Long-winded? I was always assuming that it's long-winded because like a winding road, it goes all kinds of places before it reaches its destination. Random Citizen asks, Tim Man, you live in Sweden, right? I do not live in Sweden. I'm sorry, Random Citizen. I'm Dutch, so I live in the Netherlands. Netherlands is between England and Germany, to the south of Norway. It's a country on the North Sea. We love cheese. We love coffee. We're one of the biggest coffee importers, I think. I think only Finland is a bigger coffee importer in the world. Those Finns love coffee even more than the Dutch for some reason. I don't know why. Fun fact. Yeah, so the Dutch is what you get when you essentially take Germans and then remove every sign of decency, and then you get the Dutch. You know that part from Austin Powers? Like, there's only two things I hate: people being intolerant of other people's cultures, and the Dutch. That's amazing. Alienetu says, I'm not French, I'm from Latin America. So how do I pronounce your name? Pum. You know, every time when there's a language thing that I don't understand, I just default to French, because I used to have French in school, and I was really bad at it. So every time there's something difficult going on, like linguistics-wise, I just default to French. Graham asks, have you heard the soundtrack to the Supergiant games, Bastion, Transistor, Hades? I have played a bit of Bastion, like a long time ago, and I really liked it. We had a bit of a Western theme, right? I think the musician also did the composer also did the voiceover for Hades, like the main character. And he has a super sexy voice. Oh my god. Oh yeah. The Breath of the Wild sheet music album version 2. Balana asks, what are your plans regarding music in 2023? Anything you really want to test out? I would like to do a Hyrule Highlands 3. There's a few tracks that are already in like varying states of being finished. So there's a Farron Woods from Skyward Sword on mandolin, which is really nice. It was one of the first things I tried to play on a mandolin. In a kind of a shuffle feel. I'm not exactly sure how to end. And there's I had a Spirit Tracks Celtic thing going on, which is really long and epic with orchestrations and stuff, and I kind of got mired in the complexity of it all, so I stopped working on it, but it's still, it's there for me if I want to continue. Which is really nice. Boom, boop, with like a funky bass. Nice and groovy. I really like making my Celtic stuff funky. Funky. Piggy Pickerson asks, what's your favorite Homesick and Hopeful piece? Which one is the hardest for you? So Homesick and Hopeful is an album with original piano work that I wrote just before I moved across the country. Or I wrote it like in the 10 years preceding. It's from pieces I wrote in my teenage years until like when I was 24. And I recorded it when I was moving across the country because we were having a baby. So all those pieces are like deeply nostalgic for me. So it's really hard to pick one. I think Once comes to mind. So that's like vanilla Tim style. So there's no game music in this. I wrote this just completely blank, so to speak. Super chats! Oh, thank you so much, Random Citizen. $20 super chat. Eggnog parasailing super chat. Let's do it. And Graham. This eggnog latte is on Graham. Thank you so much, Graham. Happy holidays, you too. Okay, so we're going to have to do an eggnog parasailing. So it's a little bit tipsy. Let's see what happens. I think parasailing is kind of a Christmassy thing, right? Maybe I can bob my head to the rhythm and then get this bell going. I think I'm gonna get a headache if I do that. That's not. I do have a tambourine here somewhere. Ah, whatever. Oh yeah. Cheesiness for the win. Giazur, I have no idea how to pronounce your name, asks, what music program do you use, if you use any? I use Logic for recording, Logic Pro, and I use MuseScore for my notation. Bachka asks, when will we see Tears of the Kingdom again? I'm kind of banking on February. Nintendo has done a February Direct for the past couple of years, not counting 2021, I think. And then it's like 3-4 months before release. 3 months. So kind of counting on that one. Oh, you always said the same thing. And tulips. We also have tulips and cheese here. Alana says, I live in Germany near the border to the Netherlands. Sometimes we go shopping there. Ah, where do you go shopping? Because I live in a border town. I live in Enschede, which is near Münster on the Dutch side. Is there a Norwegian butter crisis, Diebus? Where? I cannot play Professor Layton Guru Guru, I'm sorry. But maybe I can play Astral Observatory and Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Okay, let's give it a try. Okay, so Twinkle Twinkle Little Star goes like... Now, first we have to... The key that Astral Observatory is in is, I think it's F. Okay. Okay. There was also an interesting question. I'm behind on the questions because I'm talking a lot and also playing piano, but it's kind of the idea, right? That I'm playing the piano in between the answers. Let's see. Yue asks, how are you able to recall and play so many pieces from memory? That's kind of my thing, honestly. Has always been like that. I'm not very good at reading sheet music. Have never been good at reading sheet music. I've always been good with my ears and with my musical memory. But only up to a certain point. Like I have to kind of grasp the logic of a music piece, and then I can play it. For example, the parasailing stuff has a rising bass line. And that beginning then is kind of the hook for me to remember the entire song. And the rest then kind of flows from that. For Astral Observatory, I can never remember that one. I'm only starting to remember it a little bit now because it's asked so many times on stream. I know that it starts with a run up. And then I know it's an F, so that's probably run up and then we'll land on an F chord. And then that's enough for me to kind of play a lot of it initially. But then when weird stuff starts happening, then I have trouble remembering. So sometimes I do have to open the PDF. But I can't hear the music in my head, so sometimes I'm singing notes that I'm hearing in my head and don't know yet which notes are correspond to the piano. But then I can kind of um, um, like imagine them vocally, like with my voice. I can kind of transpose it from my memory to my hands, if that makes sense. Sometimes it doesn't work, as people who have watched these streams over the years, over the past year, exactly 1 year of streams in the new year, by the way, can attest to. Sometimes I just don't know, but oftentimes I do. Often with little technical shortcuts like rising bass lines or certain kind of opening chord, stuff like that. Isaac had a cool question. Could you see if you can combine a game track with a Christmas song like Hyrule Castle and Carol of the Bells? That's a cool question. I'm a conductor of an amateur choir here in Enschede, and we've sung Carol of the Bells like a few times the past weeks because we had a couple of concerts. I always loved the melody, but I wasn't sure about the lyrics because the lyrics in English at least are much lighter than the music sounds. And then I discovered that it's not English, actually, it's Ukrainian. Carol of the Bells is a Ukrainian song called Shedrik. And it's a winter song about the upcoming spring. About the sparrow, the swallow, some kind of bird that then flies into the farm and tells the farmer what kind of good things are waiting for him in the new year. So we've kind of memorized, they haven't memorized, but we've tried to learn the Ukrainian. If there's Ukrainian in the chat or watching this, I love it so much. It's such a great piece. It keeps like escalating. Kind of works very well. Graham says, okay, yes, extract this bit into its own video. I'm so behind on the comments. I'm sorry, everybody. But that's a very cool idea. Belana says, sometimes when I listen to Open Air, I actually think it's Tears of the Kingdom soundtrack. Well, Open Air will always be there. And Tears of the Kingdom soundtrack as well. So that's the best of both worlds, right? You can just pick whichever one you want. Piggy Priggerson says, once really moved me when I first heard it, once from the piano album I was talking about. That's so nice to hear. I love the entire album, so I bought your sheet music for it and have been going through learning each one for the last couple of weeks. That's so cool, Piggy Priggerson. I think the sheet music is in Dutch, right? Not sure if I translated all the notes and stuff to English. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for playing my music. Happy holidays, Toot Noot. Yeah, sorry, I jump scared everybody. Another technique question from Scott. How much do you depend on prior knowledge of the chords when playing? So when I'm playing a track I know, I depend upon it very much. So I'm kind of I'm quite harmonically focused. Often when I write music myself, I'm also mainly thinking of the harmonies, and then the melodies often arise from that. When I'm playing a piece of music that I don't know yet, for example, during the Xenoblade Chronicles reaction streams, I'm trying to find the musical logic in the harmonies, and often the logic isn't too far away from for most pieces in game music. So, for example, like Chain Attack. Let's see if I can find that one. Chain Attack PDF. Let's see if the computer poops its pants or not. It doesn't. Oh yeah. So when that part came, when I was listening to it the first time, I know a bit of game music. I've heard a bit of game music in my time. And I know that's a progression, especially in Japanese game music, that happens a lot. So the bass note just stays put, and then there's a chord progression that's just rising up and going back down. It happens a lot in Zelda music, and also especially in Super Smash Bros. Music as well. Then I know that's the hook for me for that song, and then I know it again. So that's cool. And then other stuff started happening in the song. Chain Attack. Then like in music, you often have a question and an answer. So when you're talking about music that's relatively straightforward, and Xenoblade music generally is relatively straightforward from a musical theory standpoint, you can kind of divide the sections up into 8 bars, and those 8 bars can then be divided into 2 bars of 4. And the first 4 bars are kind of the question. They're an initial statement, musical statement, and then the following 4 bars are the answer. So they often repeat the first 4 bars, but then with a variation. So when I'm done listening along to that music, I'm going like, okay, so this is a statement they made. They're going to be repeating that, and then I can try to kind of predict what's going to happen next. So yeah, when playing stuff I already know, the chords of kind of the place where you hang your coat, so to speak. Rachel asks, can you do a Reels theme and Zelda's Lullaby combo? I do not know how to play a Reels theme. I can look it up, but maybe not now, because there's so much chat going on, which is good. Song of Storms in a snowy theme with an organ pipe. That's a super cool idea. Okay, I'm so far behind. We're selecting a few comments that I haven't read yet, and then I'll be scrolling down. Okay, so Song of Storms with a spooky organ. Okay. Let's see if there's a spooky organ sound on this. Let's see. How does this work again? How does this computer work again? Organize? Not organize. List? Categories? Ah, there we go. Organ. Oh, this is perfect. Let's do it. Not sure if it's spooky enough. Oh, whoopsie daisy. I'm messing it up. Yay, with a jingle from my jingle hat. That's a nice idea. Bumpa hum. Smallest Tez says my 15-month-old son's favorite song is TTLS. Not sure which one that is, but he was dancing and singing along the whole time. That's so good to hear. I recently went to a baby shower and I was like, oh my god, other people's babies are so nice. And then you have your own baby and it's like, let's say your life changes. Let's just say there's not a lot of free time or sleep. Smallest Taz's mom heard and said, I'm a genius. Thank you, Smallest Taz's mom. Antique Monkey asks, if you had to pick one type of cheese to play for the rest of my life, or to eat for the rest of my life, I do love cheesy saxophone music with like 90s style electric piano. So I would love to play that one for the rest of my life. If that's the only kind of cheese I can still play. Maybe with some like super over the top ad-libbed, kind of vocals. That's the kind of cheese. I wouldn't say that's the kind of cheese I like. That's the kind of cheese I appreciate from a certain standpoint. As far as to eat goes, well, that's Gouda, of course, because I'm Dutch. I also like mozzarella, though. Some of your usernames are very hard to read. Stealthy, level 3, something. Says, hi, Tim the Mon. I recently discovered your channel from the Tears of the Kingdom theme you made. I find it absolutely amazing. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. I'm glad people are still finding me. Mini Hilly. The piano is not a VST. I'm using a Nord Grand with the Fazioli preset. So it's actually just the sound from the digital piano. I have tried piano VSTs, and I have tried different piano sounds on the Nord. But this is the only one that I really love. It's just it's so clean, but it's also warm, and it also has character and kind of takes a lot of boxes for me. I also like this upright sound that it has. It's very inspiring as well. It has a very particular character. And I love that on a digital piano, you have very little latency. And with a computer, there's always stuff in between me and the music. A little bit. Carol of the Castle. Belana asks, where can I buy sheet music? I think on my website I had a sheet music buying link, but I'm not sure if that's still the case. Patrons get sheet music albums, so I think all patrons get the Homesick and Hopeful sheet music album. So from €1 per month and up. And if you donate $5, €5 a month and up, you also get the Breath of the Wild sheet music ebook. And I think you also get the Mario one, but I'm not sure. It's on my Patreon. Patreon.com/TimDeMan. Speaking of which, if I'm talking about my patrons, I'm going to be doing some patron shoutouts. So this year has been kind of a stagnating year for my YouTube channel. However, a combination of doing these streams and my Patreon and the Spotify stuff still led to kind of give me a very good feeling about doing this. So thank you all so much. I want to thank my top patrons, everybody who's donating €10 a month or more. I also very much appreciate the other folks, but if I would also be shouting them out, this stream would be become a little bit boring. So the top patrons are Masatoshi, which is new, so welcome and thank you so much. J HSPER, Clown Pierce, Random Citizen, Lazarus, Aspiring Hero Games, Anas, George R, Rio S, Patrick, Joshua, Alberto, and Fernando. Thank you so much. It's kind of crazy people are paying me to do this stuff, but very much appreciated. What Christmas song do you think goes best with the N64 Snowy Mountain track? I think the Sleigh Ride song. A lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you. Snowy Mountain. I was playing that one in the previous stream, I think. I was kind of confused because it's really similar to the slide. Da, 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 da. I'm going to have to look that one up, the N64 Snowy Mountain one. Might do that, but first I wanna catch up with my chat. Favorite Zelda game? Liesel Ann asks. Oh, that's a very difficult question. It kind of depends on my mood. I think in general I'm most impressed by Breath of the Wild because of how much it tries to do and succeeds in doing. Especially coming from Skyward Sword, which is a much more constrained game from every standpoint. But I also love Skyward Sword because those dungeons are just incredible. Like the atmosphere, the music, the game feel in that game is great, at least on the Switch version. But if I want to have something that's quick and snappy, then Link Between Worlds would be my pick. So my 3 favorite Zelda games are the 3 most recent Zelda games, which leads me to say that I have the utmost trust in the Zelda team making something amazing again. Speaking of Oregon, DBZ Productions says, did anyone notice that Ganondorf was playing his own Castles theme in Ocarina of Time? Yeah, that's funky. So that's the difference between diegetic and non-diegetic music. I think diegetic music means that the music you're hearing as a player in this instance is also present in the game world. So Ganon is playing the music that you're hearing in Ganon's castle is actually the music from Ganon being bored out of his mind and playing the organ all day. But other music like the Hyrule Field theme, that's non-diegetic. So Link does not hear that music. That's music that's only heard by the player. Ulysses says, always disappointed when it's not raining babies from the sky at a baby shower. I'm not, because that sounds horrible. Oh my god. It's a good idea for a horror movie, though. I think Hateno might be my favorite Zelda village, full stop. Masterful vibes. Also, it's got windmills, so I feel at home. Not sure if there's cheese, though. I didn't know that the Final Fantasy VII theme is also played in-game. That's interesting. Thanks, DBZ Production. I'm not very good at fugues, Oliver. I'm sorry. Fugues are difficult. They say Bach could improvise fugues, and that's kind of incredible. Because you essentially have to kind of divide your attention into 2 or 3 distinct pieces of music. I do not know Julian Bam. Sorry, Balana. Love for Skyward Sword, of course. Skyward Sword is kind of amazing, but I've only played it on the Switch. And I came in with low expectations, and I was kind of blown away by how much I liked it. I use OBS, Giazur, yeah. DBZ Production says, in Hateno you can hear the start of the house music, and I think it's because the place became Link's home. I found that piece of music on the soundtrack. It's a very slow version of the traditional Zelda house music in there, but I haven't actually heard it in game. But makes sense if it would be there in Hateno. I'm not wearing this anymore because I'm kind of getting. It's getting hot in here. Maybe I can put it on my microphone. So put it on your mic. I am putting it on my mic because I'm so hot. Something like that. Oh my god, that's so ugly. Let's not do it. It's cute though. So. Hotse flots. Yeah, they got all those Hateno cows and sheep for cheese. That's true. US says, I'd like to recommend Cloud Smiles from the Final Fantasy VII movie Advent Children. Not sure if you've heard it. I've watched that movie a long time ago. So I might look, yeah, I think I'll look it up. I'm thinking of playing Crisis Core, by the way, now that it's on Switch and PC and stuff. No more questions. Maybe I can do a complete version, a longer version of the Carol of the Bells / Hyrule Castle medley. Let's see if I can do that. And then maybe I can play it without too many mistakes, and then I can upload it as a separate thing. Hey, Maymuni has a question. That's good, then I can drink a little bit of coffee and answer it. Maymuni asks, how old were you when you first started playing piano? Long ago enough that I think that I can drink and do stuff at the same time, but unfortunately that only goes for playing the piano, not for talking. Meh. How old? Like when I was 6 or something, I saw a piano on the television. Do you remember televisions? And I was like, that looks reasonably, like, not too complicated. It's a very clear instrument, so you can see very clearly what you have to play and which keys you have to press and stuff like that, unlike an instrument like guitar or violin. I couldn't wrap my head around that. Still can't, honestly. So, yeah, then I started playing keyboards on my 7th, and I started playing piano on my 9th. Stephen Cooper asks, hi Tim, other than Tears of the Kingdom, are there any other games you're looking forward to in 2023? Well, 2023 is going to be kind of a crazy year for games, right? Because lots of stuff that was initially planned for 2022 got delayed. Stuff like Starfield and Tears of the Kingdom, obviously. I'm kind of hard-pressed, honestly, to think of much. I'd really like to see a 2D Mario game. Maybe they're planning on releasing that. It's been so long, man. Super Mario Bros. U was almost 11 years ago. And then Mario Maker, I don't consider... I like those, but it's not like an honest-to-goodness new 2D Mario. So I'd love to see that, honestly. But of the games announced, like, I'm sort of interested in Final Fantasy 16. I do not have a PlayStation. I'm also not planning on buying one because with the Switch and the PC, I already have more than enough gaming hardware to occupy me. But you know, Final Fantasy is an interesting series, and I really hope for it to kind of find its footing. I think 7 Remake was doing putting stuff in the right direction. I haven't played it, but I've seen it from a distance. So yeah, that and lots of lovely games this year I didn't even have on my radar. I'm currently playing Metal Hellsinger. Metal Hellsinger, which is like an old school style shooter, where you have to shoot in the rhythm of the music, and if you do that enough, then nice and crunchy metal grunts and growls and stuff like that starts happening. So I can recommend that if you're of the age to play that kind of stuff. And that game wasn't on my radar, and I loved it. I also loved Proteus this year, which is also an old school shooter, which is one of my favorite kinds of games, which also wasn't on my radar. So I just hope to be surprised, honestly. I'm looking forward to Zelda, and I'm looking forward to working on a few games that will probably kick into gear next year. That's also very inspiring to work on composing stuff. Rachel asks, could you do the Great Sea and the Sky from Skyward Sword? I could. The Great Sea, like the one that goes like... Playing that, just, man, Skyward Sword is a special game for sure. It's also has its problems for sure, but it also has so many qualities. That's kind of incredible, that entire section with the Sand Sea. I know it's a bit of a cliche to say that, but it's true. It's a cliche because it's true. Just masterful. Let's see. Something like that? It's been a long while. Turn the page. Huh, 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 huh. Turning the page. This part is funny. my god. Yeah, this is where my sheet music deficiencies kind of come into play. Something like that. Okay, so yeah, I recommend you look up the version that's on my channel. Hey, Kinoli, welcome. I'm open to more suggestions or requests for reaction streams, of course. UA says, I'm not sure about 2D Mario games now. They might make a sequel to Mario Odyssey. With Bowser's Fury release, they might be sticking to the 3D formula. You know, that would be a shame. It's like Bowser's Fury was an excellent quarter of a game, so I wouldn't mind at all if they made a complete game like that. But 2D Mario is just a different type of experience, and I really miss stuff like that, honestly. So yeah. Yeah, the sky is a bit of a pain to play. Triforce Heroes music, I have not listened to it, but it's on my radar because I have the 2018 concert CD, and they play stuff from Triforce Heroes there. And there's the waterfront music that's like gorgeous. Something like that. That's a lot of key changes, right? Reaction ideas from Graham, Xenogears. I'm basically making a track list and OST list in my head. There's an OST, a Celtic arrangement album, and an orchestral concert album. Maybe more. Yeah, that's also Mitsuda. Yeah, I really like the stuff I hear often from him, I'm like, ooh, that's really cool. But you know, there's so much. It's kind of difficult to wade through that all. I know that Koji Kondo composed the intro for Skyward Sword, like the orchestral intro. Which is funny because when I heard that for the first time, I was like, oh, if only Koji Kondo had those kinds of resources when he was still in his prime, because then he could have written for an orchestra. But then he did write for that orchestra, so that's fun. I know he's in the credits of Breath of the Wild, but maybe he's in the credits because it's more from a legacy standpoint, because he's responsible for lots of the themes that are referenced by the other composers. I'm not sure. Ah, glad to hear that, Matthew. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, Mitsuda has a very cool dreamlike quality. I'm gonna take a sip on my tea and then play some more stuff. All right. something like that. Not sure if I'll upload it. But it was a jam for sure. A jam. Yeah, maybe someone can mod a massive Santa hat and dye his beard white. Rachel. Scott says, hey, I don't know if you ever played Pokemon. I do not. Have not yet. But you should take a listen at the Generation 5 soundtracks. Yeah, is there a lot of turnover for Pokemon composers? Because there's not really a single Pokemon music producer, right? Uh-oh, I used the word producer. I don't like the word producer. Sounds like you're making cans of tomato soup every time someone uses the word producer. That's Pokemon Black and White. Music. Pokemon musical? Okay, so there's lots of composers for that soundtrack, so to see. So to see, that's not English, that's Dutch. Apparently, that's English. Might be something to do for the for another reaction stream with Pokemon music, because people often ask me, and it's not really my usual area of expertise. I have to do the thing with your nose that you do with a piece of paper that I never know what's the word in English. Blow my nose. Just a second. Have an F sharp or something. Dank je. You get 2 notes for waiting. Do it! Okay, that's interesting for a reaction. I haven't played Hoa or Tunic, Manuel, but I was considering buying Tunic for the PC, because it's a super interesting looking game. The Switchboard is 30 FPS, and I'm kind of hoping for a new Switch soon. Hi, Hinata Potato. Yeah, it's been a long time. The Dutch equivalent to blowing your nose is je neus snuiten. Snout your nose, literally speaking. I have to admit I'm using DeepL translator a lot recently. I'm relatively fluent in English, but sometimes I want to write an email and I don't want any mistakes because it's a business email, and I run the entire thing through the translator to check if I'm not saying anything weird. Je neus snuiten. Blow your nose. I use the right words. Tunic. Okay, I'll play Tunic. After I finished Heddle Melsinger. Metal Hellsinger. So, not a lot of questions, so let me just play some stuff, I guess. Or suggestions are always welcome, of course. I will be streaming until 5 o'clock. The Sort of Toad asks, do you like sledding or skiing or snowboarding? I have never done any skiing or snowboarding, so I think I have to say sledding. Yeah. I do like snow. We don't get a lot of snow in the Netherlands because we're quite close to the sea. Okay. Yeah. Jump scare. I had to look up my the patch with the ambient layer on it in the middle of that. Glad you appreciated that. Missed a few questions. It's been a while since I did that kind of crazy medley, right? Always feels good. Was trying to play Gerudo Valley, Rachel, but I accidentally started playing Total Heights instead. Fruity doody doody doo doo doo. Hey, Peter. Peter van den Toorn says, "Hey Tim, greetings from also the Netherlands. Big fan. I really liked your arrangement of KK Cruising. Such a good track. Thank you. Really like those Animal Crossing tracks doing that. Was wondering if you're familiar with Michiru Yamane's work from Castlevania. I'm not familiar with Castlevania music. I have heard a few tracks and I was like, ooh, that's cool. But I don't know anything specific, unfortunately. And there was lots of questions that I missed. Favorite hot drink? In this specific period, I do like chocolate milk, especially chocolate milk with a bit of rum. Don't drink that a lot, but just special occasions. My daily driver, however, is coffee or a cappuccino. Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey Yue, I'm not very familiar with the Monster Hunter franchise. I have done 2 tracks on my channel. I've done the Monster Hunter Rise Victory theme and like the something of a hero, Proof of a Hero as well, I think. Graham asks, how's the bicycle infrastructure there? I have a Dutch bike and I'm jealous for places with better bike infrastructure. We used to have the best bike infrastructure in the world. Now Denmark has the best. But we still have very good bike infrastructure. You can essentially bike anywhere without too much fear of getting your socks knocked off. So I'm very blessed living in a country like that. Not only that, but like within cities, the cities are quite dense here. That goes for much of Europe, but for Netherlands as well. So you can essentially walk or bicycle to a lot of places, get your groceries, go to the cinema or to a bar without having to use the car. So that's something we take for granted here. But then you go to America and everything is car only. So yeah. Anas, hey, Anas asks, do you have a game you'll be spending your holidays playing with the family? Like a video game or like an analog game? Video games, I'm currently playing Civilization 6 with my kid. He really likes being the Romans. We're also reading Asterix, whatever. We're reading the comic books about the Romans and the Gauls and stuff. And we're playing the Romans in Civilization as well, so that's a lot of fun. My wife isn't into video games at all. She plays a game on her phone sometimes. That's just about it. But maybe we can play. We do like playing some analog games every now and then. There's this game called Rummy Cup, which is more of a it's like Scrabble but with numbers instead. It's really nice. Hi Oscar, welcome. So that's lots of questions, and now I'm behind again. Thank you all so much for chatting with each other while I'm playing the piano. For anybody curious about my views about the Breath of the Wild soundtrack, I made a video. It had a clickbait title. I was trying a clickbait title for once. I think it's something called like Why Breath of the Wild Doesn't Have Any Good Music. It's one of the few like video essays I made like last year or 2 years ago. And the short version is there's actually lots of music in the game, but it's not always implemented very effectively. So there's unique music for every single stage of every Divine Beast, and a Divine Beast takes you like 30 minutes or an hour maybe. But there's only a single music track for all the shrines, and you spend hours upon hours in the shrines. For example, that's one of the things they'll probably fix. There's also luxurious cutscene music that you only hear once. Yeah, stuff like that. I really hope they don't go overboard to the other side using bombastic music where it's not fitting, because I do think it was a very cool solution they had with the semi-randomized piano snippets they used in the overworld. But maybe they can... yeah, stuff like the parasail music. I do really like that kind of stuff. So maybe they can find more events or situations in which that kind of music is more fitting. But you know, from the little bits of teasers we've had, it does seem like it's a much more energetic, brighter game compared to Breath of the Wild, which is a bit muted, of course, due to its thematics. So maybe that also corresponds with the music. I do know the Zora's Domain music secret, yeah. There's a bunch of music nerds in that team. We're everywhere. Graham says, "Ooh, Wicked, Asterix and Obelix. I think about the Kafkaesque administrative office all the time." That stuff's amazing, yeah. I did not 100% the Korok seeds. I do not think that's the intention they had with the Korok seeds. I think the intention was to have every player discover enough to expand their inventory. But Hinata Potato has, oh my god, respect. Sky Children of Light, is that a soundtrack by Wintory? Austin Wintory? I'm sorry, Soto, I forgot your question about the Christmas foods. I do like, what's that stuff called in English? I'm looking it up. Roast. Chicken roast. Is that roast? Okay, roast. They call it a rollade. So it's a roll with chicken stuff. I really like that. Kinoli asks, you probably have talked about it before, but what is your musical background? Did you study in a school or you're self-taught? Do you have a musical or any kind of degree? What do I look like? Someone who has a degree? I do have a degree. I have a degree in music education. So I don't come from a musical family. There were some musical genes, but like my parents and their parents weren't very... didn't have the disposable income or the free time, I guess, to learn an instrument. But I'm blessed to have had that. So I've learned the piano at home. And I did have lessons, but lots of the things that I currently, as an adult, I'm depending on are self-taught. So harmony, lots of musical theory stuff, harmonies, composing, that's self-taught. I really loved playing video game music by ear. That's kind of what kept me going as a kid, playing the piano between the classical piano lessons that weren't always very interesting to me. So I was doing a lot of improvisation and composition on the side while I was having classical piano lessons, and then I went to the conservatory. I wanted to do piano, not classical piano, but more the jazz, pop kind of stuff. But I ultimately ended up doing education because I really liked developing myself more broadly. I also wanted to learn guitar, wanted to learn the drums, wanted to learn to sing better. I did sing already, but I like to have some lessons as well. So I did music education, which was a very cool study, when I got to learn all kinds of stuff. So I got the basics for lots of instruments, and I also got to do both classical and jazz pop piano lessons. So I taught for a while music in primary schools. Loved doing that. But when I moved across the country, it was becoming less easy for me to do that work. So I started trying all kinds of stuff, and ultimately I finally started doing what I always wanted to do, which was making game music. And this year, 2022, was the year in which my game music composing practice really started to take off, and I'm really thankful for that because I'm just a game music person through and through. When I was in a rock band, it was actually game music that I was writing. Homesick and Hopeful, the classical piano album that's on Spotify and stuff, and you get on Patreon if you're a supporter. That's also quite game music-like. So ultimately ended up doing this. So very glad to be doing this kind of stuff. Yeah, but composing stuff, yeah, I'm self-taught. And after my conservatory, I'm now 34. I finished conservatory when I was 22. So the past 12 years, I kept developing. Tried not to let my development, so to say, my skills wither. I do have watched some 8-bit music theory. On one hand, it's very interesting and educating, and on the other hand, it's not really the way that I myself approach music. So I don't have... it's not my... it can be very educating to me, but ultimately things for me have to be embodied. I have to feel them. I have to know how it feels to play it on my instrument. Before it really starts sinking in. I did really enjoy his analysis of the Breath of the Wild main theme, in which he turned out they only use like a single musical phrase that they keep shifting around in a very cool way. So if you haven't seen it, 8-bit Music Theory's analysis of the Breath of the Wild main theme, that's super cool. And that has kind of given me a different perspective on my own compositions. For example, my own Breath of the Wild main theme, between air quotes, Open Your Eyes from Open Air, the albums, is kind of structured like the Breath of the Wild one. And I didn't think that through. I was composing it, I had the trailer on my screen, and I was trying to match the beats of the trailer. But analyzing my own piece of music afterward, it appeared that I was doing lots of the same composition tricks there with, for example, a part of the main theme there is and that's actually a major version of the main theme that appears later in the piece of music. So yeah, sometimes I watch that, and then it takes a time for me to kind of digest what's happening, and then when it embodies, when it gets into my system, I can then make use of it. Scott asks, what kind of harmonic ideas do you like to come back to, and how do you use creativity in your chord progressions while improvising? Well, as someone who's played a lot of game music, especially Japanese game music, they are inspired by jazz fusion a lot, like 80s jazz fusion. So there's lots of jazzy chords that they use within the context of their game music. For example, this is Instant. Whatever. So the major 7th chord is a very popular chord in that kind of music. I like that. Lately, I haven't been thinking about harmonies like chord, but more in the way of having a certain bass note and then having a certain shape in the right hand. For example, if you have the stacked fourths in the right hand, I don't always know what kind of chord I'm playing. I just know that when I play this, it feels a certain way. And from that, I tried to develop that into something something new. Yeah, I love minor chords, especially minor keys. Trying to make melodies with the bass. That's also an interesting thing I've been working on lately. So not always playing the root note, but kind of looking at what kind of sentence is the bass playing. So now something interesting happened when I was walking down with the bass. I wanted to walk down a semitone, and then I played a chord that I normally never play, but because I was following the bass, something cool happened. So I do like surprising myself in that sense. That was improvised, Yue, yeah. And that way, if I'm kind of following the shapes in my right hand and then trying to make a melody with my bass, I also kind of prevent the fear of using the same chord progressions every time. Because it doesn't really matter what chord progressions you use and if they're very different from chord progressions you used earlier. The only thing that matters is if it's fitting for what you're doing. So sometimes I have a chord progression that's not very creative at all, like this. That's a super standard chord progression. I used to use that a lot as a teenager. And then it got kind of mangled by years of pop music only using this chord progression. But you know, if that's fitting, if that's what you need for music or for the feeling that you have, then that's fine. Not sure if that makes sense. Yeah, so it's called the shapes in my right hand, fourths or this. I'm not sure what this is. It also works really well. Like an octave with a fifth and then a second underneath, and then you can use that in all kinds of cool configurations. It's also the reason sometimes when people ask me on stream to play a piece of music of my own that's on open air, for example, it's been a while since I composed it, and it goes all kinds of directions that sound natural, but if I have to teach myself that music again, then it's sometimes challenging because it doesn't always make sense, theoretically speaking. May Mooney asks, do you have any side jobs to being a YouTuber? I only have YouTubing used to be my main side, like a side job besides teaching and conducting. But currently, at this point, I'm only doing conducting one single choir, and I don't teach anymore for a variety of reasons. Mainly, just difficult to get teaching work here that's satisfying. You know, when I'm teaching, I want to know the kids. I want to have multiple classes in a single school, so I get to know the kids over the years as well. But the way that music education works, in this region at least, is that you get to teach every, like what's called a fourth grade. I'm not sure what grade that is, but it's like kids from, let's say they're 6, 7 years old, on different schools. So there's only one class that you teach in every school. So one, I'm cycling a lot, just going from school to school, and two, I don't get to know the children and don't get to know the school or the colleagues there very well. So ultimately, I stopped doing that, which is kind of a shame because I really love working with children. But I'm working with the kid every day now because I have my own child. So from that sense, it takes the sting out of that. So YouTube was my main thing in 2020, and I stopped most of my teaching work then before COVID hit, and then COVID hit, and then I had to. But now it's kind of 50-50 between doing YouTube and doing composing work for video games. And in an ideal world, I'd like to have it like 70-30. So 70% composing and 30% YouTube. So do something every week on the channel, and the rest of the time composing for games. Reading. DBZ Production asks, do you have any tips for fatigue in the hands and wrists when playing the piano? As well as how not to miss the black keys so much. My hand often gets tired and there are times when I miss black keys. Yeah, Tesoro Toad has the short version. I'm now sitting behind the piano for 2 hours and my back is getting a little bit tired. So then it's time to take a break. That's only reasonable. 2 hours is quite long. When I'm just playing for fun, when I'm inspired behind the grand piano in the living room, I play for 30 minutes and then it's okay. I do recommend playing shorter segments, like 20 minutes per day. Maybe multiple blocks of 20 minutes, but not like hours on end. Something to really keep in mind is that your shoulders are relaxed and there's no tension in your hands that's not needed for playing. So they're always relaxed, they're always a little bit like this, so they're not stretched out. They're more... a relaxed position for a hand is if you make a fist and then let it hang, get kind of this, right? So it's not stretched out, it's a little bit curved. That's natural. And then you can kind of use your fingers as little hammers on the keys. That's a way to keep it more relaxed instead of doing that. And trying to pay attention to this part of your hand. Try if you can keep like the mouse of your hand relaxed while playing. And then looking for where the tension in your body is and trying if you can prevent that. For me, I want to be sitting quite high on the piano, on my piano stool, so I can let my shoulders hang and then just let my hands float, so to speak. See you later, Scott. Hey, Seth. Hey, Moni. Glad that you're here. I am kind of stopping because it's becoming dinner time, Moni, sorry. One question, Victoria asks, what's your favorite song to play? I do like Pirate's Hill a lot. I also like the track from Chrono Cross, Scars of Time. I do play that often as well. I have played that one today. I like Hateno Village. I've played that one today. I like Lake Hylia. Played today. I like the Final Fantasy VII main theme. Played today. Yeah, it's been kind of my favorites. Like a collection of my favorites today. Not sure if I missed anything. Glad to hear that, Moni. Sometimes computers can be kind of fickle. Graham says, Wayne in Major always made me cry as a kid. He didn't even have a bed. No crib for a bed. The little Lord Jesus lays down his sweet head. One of the songs that I've conducted recently with my choir. Oh no, I haven't conducted that one because they think it's too sweet. It's a very sweet song for sure, yeah. I'm going to look through my list of videos and see what kind of piece I can play for the final piece of the year. Of course. Okay. Something weird's going on. Am I still streaming? Very strange stuff. Very strange stuff. Hello, hello, hello. Sorry, sorry. Weird stuff going on with my computer. Yeah, the audio was cutting in and out. I was opening a browser tab and apparently Logic thought that was very difficult. Let's see, what did I play? Is it okay now, by the way, the audio? Yeah, I'm back. Good. Spirit Tracks Overworld, A Step Away, Weight of Life, Chain Attack, Tears of the Kingdom. Maybe I should just play some Tears of the Kingdom stuff. That'll be fitting, right? Splatoon, Anarchy Rainbow, Splat Attack, Till Depth Do Us Part. There's Rito Village, Chill Jazz, Mifa's theme, Chill Jazz. Yeah, let's do Tears of the Kingdom. May Mooney says, not a question, but to say for this year, I love your music and can't wait to hear more. Hopefully I can be as great as you one day. Aw, thank you too, May Mooney. Many, many years of just noodling around and keeping my ears open. Thank you so much for listening this past year, everybody. It's been a weird year, but I really loved doing these streams with you. I really loved doing the reaction streams as well. And I wish you all the best for 2023. And I'll see you somewhere in January. I'm not sure, maybe the first week already. And we'll just keep on keeping on doing our stuff. Thank you so much, everybody, for the kind words. Merry Christmas. And see you all soon.